You're listening to Champion Cinema with Chris and Chris.
I thought we should start every show.
Just a different champion each week. That's the challenge. We have to do a different voice every week for the champion.
This week it could be Charlie. Champion.
Champion.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Champion Cinema. I'm Chris with a Carlos Norris C.
And I'm Chris with a Kirby K.
Kirby? Well, I thought you would go for Kessler, to be honest.
No.
But yeah, I forgot he's Kirby in Silent Ridge. Scary bastard. This week we're going to be looking at a Chuck Norris movie and a Charles Bronson movie with Silent Rage from 82 and 10 to Midnight from 1995. Looking forward to talking about these.
Yeah, both very similar in some ways, like crossover movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun movies.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just get cracking.
Let's get right into it.
Let's get right in there, more than.
Champion Cinema.
So Silent Rage was released in 1982, runs for 1 hour and 40 minutes, directed by Michael Miller. It stars Chuck Norris as Sheriff Dan Stevens, Brian Libby as John Kirby, Ron Silver as Dr. Tom Howman, Steve Keats as Dr. Philip Spires, Stephen First as Deputy Charlie, and Tony Callum as Alison Hallman. But what is the story, sir?
Well, it's a film of two halves.
Yeah.
The A plot is a very troubled individual is severely let down by the American healthcare system. He's then executed by the corrupt county police department. He doesn't find peace, though, in death, and he is swiftly brought back to life by an experimental drug administered to him by a mad scientist. And then the B plot is Chuck Norris dates an old friend and mentors a new deputy.
Yeah.
Basically.
Basically.
That's my interpretation of the film.
It is kind of messed up, though, because, like, you don't get the impression that the killer is, like, a murderer. He just snaps one day because he can't get the help he needs from his doctor.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing about how the film literally starts, right? It's just him kind of, like, crying out for help, but he's not getting it. And then he's like mildly annoyed by his landlady and so just decides to fucking kill him.
I mean, we've all been there. We've all been in that mood.
Early highlight for me, though, the guy that smashes a chair over his back.
Yeah, where'd he come from? Was he the dad? Was he just some other lodger?
No idea, another lodger. Yeah. But yeah, he just busts like a wooden chair over his back. So, like, just to set up the scene, because we always do this.
Yes.
John Kirby snapped. He's chasing down the landlady with an axe that he's just gotten from the garden, and he's axing the doorway to get at her. And then this other guy pops in, smashes a chair over his back. John Kirby, without missing a beat, just turns around and smashes the axe into his face.
Bops him right in the head. Yeah.
But it's such a blunt, cold way of doing it. It did get a laugh out of us.
Yeah, I did chuckle at that, yeah. The bit I chuckled at the most was later on was the quickest neck break I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, where it's like a massive lead up and then bang, just does it.
It's a really, like, nasty neck break. But yeah, the opening, I was well impressed by the opening scene. I was not expecting... I wasn't, to be honest, right, to sum up, I'm annoyed that I've never seen this before.
Really?
Pretty much because I've just never bothered with Chuck Norris movies besides a couple when I was like 10.
Yeah, they come with a certain, like, not stigma, but, like, you know, the reputation precedes them, and like Chuck Norris has always been in that category for me of like,
yeah, exactly.
Really
yeah, exactly. Weirdly.
But, you know, like martial arts and stuff, I guess. It's kind of strange that never really tried. I don't know, maybe it's just Walker Texas Ranger. I think I watched a few Walker Texas Ranger episodes, TV episodes, and was just put off for life. I don't know, something. Maybe I watched some bad episodes.
I think the only two I saw when I was younger was randomly Delta Force 2. Not Delta Force 1. And like the one I did like was, because, you know, it's more geared to kids, was the movie Sidekicks. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's about, like, a kid who, like, he's got asthma, he wants to learn karate, and he's a massive Chuck Norris fan, and he keeps having all these crazy fantasies that him and Chuck Norris are, like, partners in his movies, so, like, recreates scenes from his movies.
Don't think I've seen it, but that's very familiar. I think must have seen trailers and stuff over the years.
I used to really like that when I was a kid, and then Chuck Norris is in it at the end, like, as himself, as like, at the karate tournament, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun movie. And then years later I saw, like, the first couple of mission and action movies, which I liked. They were quite fun because they're just kind of Rambo Vietnam action movie type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the opening scene, like very. I was looking at the. Did you see the quote from the director who said he was not inspired by slasher movies, and it's more like Frankenstein?
No, right, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't believe there wasn't someone on set. Because the opening is Halloween, it's all one shot.
And there's like a Halloween bit towards the end, middle, when she finds the body on the door and stuff. And it's very, if he wasn't, then somebody else
was pushing for it. Yeah, because I mean, it's not a POV shot, but it's obviously heavily inspired by the opening of Halloween. It's a murder that it's all done in one long Steadicam shot.
And he's essentially just dressed like Michael Myers. It's just a silver boiler suit instead of a beard.
And he's not speaking; he's just a silent killer in a boiler suit. So,
yeah. But speaking of silence and stuff, this film for big chunks of the movie, it's surprisingly quiet.
Well, that's another thing I liked about the opening scene. It kind of, besides the phone call and like the mum shouting at the kids, it's all just told through visuals. Even when Chuck Norris turns up, you rarely hear like a freeze, police, or anything. It's just it's like watching a silent movie. Yeah,
that's interesting. I would say, dialogue-wise, the script for this movie must only be like a dozen pages or something. Yeah, it's not really heavy in the dialogue department.
No, and Chuck Norris doesn't say much, but I think that might have been on purpose.
Yeah, quite possibly. He kicks better than he acts, bless him. At least at that stage. Maybe he got better with practice, like. But yeah, really, really interesting. Like, there's only certain bits where like there's a score, even. You know, I think the bar scene, the bar fight, I don't think has any audio of it at all. It's just all silent.
Even the end battle doesn't really.
Yeah, so really, really interesting. I was thinking like John Woo should have remade Silent Rage rather than what he did.
Yeah. Speaking of like music, there's an eerie tone that they use, like a synth tone.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure it's like instantly I was like, "Well, that's familiar," and it's like I'm sure it's the same note. And the same synth probably that is used on Zombie Flesh Eaters. It's like just that tone. I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So like, the film kept giving us weird Zombie Flesh Eaters vibes just because of that. But it does have like the opening scene, it does have like a. It's not what you like going into it as we did, like not really Chuck Norris fans. Like it does have a grimy exploitation feel to it. That opening.
Yeah, very much so. And you just don't really know where it's going and. You know, the over-the-top violence, even some of the stuff that you don't see necessarily. Because you don't see her getting axed, do you? I think you just see, like, him swinging the axe, but you don't see her,
he swings it off camera and blood spurts on him,
Yeah. But yeah, it's very much done in that style. But I really like... I don't know, in some ways, though, it almost starts like very artistically as well, the whole stained glass window and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what you're in for, basically, for this movie. Like, it starts like that, then it gives you, like, the gore and stuff, and like you said, the exploitation stuff. And then it's like Chuck Norris rolls up, and he's dressed very much like Chuck Norris in Walker, Texas Ranger sort of outfit. And then obviously the bad guy's like blown away. So like if you were walking into this movie just totally cold off the street, like into the cinema, you'd be like, what the fuck? Where's this film going?
Like, they spent a lot of time there on a character that just died.
So yeah, really interesting opening.
I really liked like John Kirby, the guy who plays the killer. I mean, Brian Libby, who plays John Kirby. Like, you look at his filmography, he's been in some crazy... He's been in like Shawshank. He must be a friend of Frank Darabont's. He's in Shawshank and The Mist. And
Green Mile as well. He had a little bit.
Oh, was he in Green Mile as well? Yeah, he must be one of Darabont's boys.
He's just popped up in a ton of stuff, basically. But he has like... He has a really good face for this role.
Well, I was going to say, I thought he looked like a cross between Bruce Spence from Mad Max 2, Paddy Considine and Ron Perlman.
Nice. Yeah. I definitely saw Ron Perlman at times. Yeah. Like the sunken eyes sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like the shadows on his face and stuff, like the way he's like angular sort of bits in his face, it works really well in it.
It does.
Like with the horror lighting and stuff. He's probably the highlight of the film for me.
He was really good, And I also thought as well, like, I wasn't sure what to... Because I knew the plot, obviously, but like, I wasn't sure what to expect from the whole experimental thing. I was glad it didn't come across as weird, campy sci-fi.
No, they didn't really get into it, did
No.
they, really? They were just like, here's a formula.
Yeah.
And
Something we've been working on. Let's
I
give it a
did
try.
laugh, though, when they took the body to the hospital and, like, Dr. Exposition turns up and he's like, this isn't just an ordinary hospital. We also do genetical experiments here. It's like, all right, calm down. I just made note of it, like, fuck me, that was a clumsy line.
I always like seeing Ron Silver and stuff. The guy who plays the doctor, the good guy doctor, like the brother
Yeah.
of the main female lead.
Yeah, what's he in again? Because I've not IMDb'd him, but yeah, I recognise him.
The two films I know him from is he's the bad guy in Time Cop, a Van Damme movie,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
the doctor in The Entity. Who plays the helper.
yeah, that'll be where I recognise
Yeah.
the entity. Because I was thinking like the entire movie. I forgot to look him up, but I was thinking, God, he's from something in like
Yeah.
definitely I recognise him.
I don't know what it is though that like. It's been a while since I've seen The Entity in Time Cop, but he sounds so much like Pacino in certain bits of this film. I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is he doing at Pacino?
Maybe.
But then I looked him up and like he's from New York, so it's probably just these. I've just never
local.
noticed it before.
Yeah,
There's just
like
a
a
few
dialect.
Yeah, there's just a few lines. I was like, Jesus, he was channeling Pacino there for a minute.
But I thought like even his character worked quite well. You know, the fact that he got like killed and stuff, it all felt quite
I
natural.
was
really.
surprised he died just because like he was one of the a few of the. Like, there's a few people I recognise in this, but him, I was like, oh, I assumed he would team up with Chuck at the end to like at least give him a fucking idea of how to kill him. But no, then he
Yeah.
died, and I was like, that was a surprise, genuine surprise.
I did laugh that his character though, like, did you notice he's doing the surgery as well at the start? He's set up as a therapist, like, you know, predominantly, I guess. Like Kirby's calling him for help because he's like his doctor, mental health doctor. And I think there's a few lines where he says like, "Oh, I specialise in like mental health. This is my thing," and stuff, or words to that effect. But then he's also doing the surgery to like remove the bullets.
Yeah, that's kind
It's
of
like,
mental. Yeah.
it's like that's not how being a doctor works.
No.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not an expert, but I think you have to specialise in one or the other. You kind of just be like, I'm a psychiatrist, but I also do bullet surgery
Yeah.
and stuff.
And after hours, pull teeth out and that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a dentist as well. Yeah, it doesn't quite work like that, but never mind. Yeah, just nitpicking.
I did find it kind of distracting that fucking Flounder from Animal House played his deputy.
Yeah, and he has a very Animal House look about him. Like, isn't he in Porky's as well or something? That guy.
Not sure. The only thing I know him from is Animal House.
He just has that look, though, doesn't he?
Which I
And
guess is why it's why he's there. He's there because when he first showed up, I was like, is he the comic relief or is he playing it straight? If he's playing it straight, that'll be weird. But then when he kind of comes across as a comic relief.
Yeah, he is basically. Although, I mean, spoilers, he dies. Like
Yeah.
they didn't fuck around in the 80s.
Fucking bear hugs him to death.
Like the comic relief. He's 10 minutes earlier. He's all like, "Hey man," telling jokes and that, and then he just gets his ribs crushed. It's like, oh my god.
It was nice to see a bear hug used in like in a movie and it actually work.
yeah, totally. That's some super strong guy. And then of course you get the really lovely tender moment where Chuck Norris cradles Charlie and just reassures him that it's going to be all right. I was like, oh, that was like really sweet.
Yeah.
Really out of place, but really sweet.
Yeah. I also noticed as well, I barely recognised her. I had to look her up. I was like, she looks familiar. Tony Callum, who plays the love interest. Fucking Big Pussy's wife from Sopranos.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she does kind of have that look. She has the villainess from Superman 2 sort of look
does,
sometimes.
yeah.
That kind of like dark complexion and the eyes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we haven't done this in a while. Chuck here is our age.
Really?
Yeah, 42.
Well, he looks quite young in it, I guess.
He does.
Like in my mind, Chuck Norris is always like quite a bit older. I guess probably just from all the movie posters I saw in the 90s, the little kid and
Yeah,
stuff.
when he had his beard, like old Norris.
Yeah. But like, so he looks quite fresh-faced in this,
You
really.
think about it though, like that means he was 32 in Where the Dragon. He probably
Yeah.
looks older in Where the Dragon.
Yeah, it's like that weird 70s effect, I think, where everyone had slightly unusual hairstyles that made them look old.
And the fact that he
I don't
looks
know.
like he's covered in moss in Where the Dragon probably makes him look a bit older.
Yeah, true. Insane body
Yeah,
hair.
he's looking like a big fucking Chuck Norris chia pet or something.
They must have shaved him for the rest of his career, maybe. I don't know, waxed his back or something.
Can't imagine waxing that back.
Big, thick carpet of a thing.
But as for like there's not much of it, like the Chuck Norris action, like bit of karate now and then. There's a big random little subplot with bikers in a bar it's literally only there so Chuck can have a fight midway through the movie.
Yeah, because it doesn't tie. I mean, being critical of the movie, that doesn't tie in at all to the plot, which is a bit silly. Like a missed opportunity. Like maybe Kirby could have come across the bikers or something, and someone just done something with it.
Yeah, they could have had a scene where, because Chuck almost gets his fucking head kicked in. Like he takes some licks in the fight.
That was a surprising thing, about this movie. He's no Bruce Lee. Like he doesn't surround himself with guys and just batter them all.
No,
like he does. He's like more of a Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones. He does take his licks at the same time. Yeah,
because they could have had a scene after that where the bikers are licking their wounds and stuff, and then they start some shit with Kirby and he just demolishes them.
Yeah,
to show that he could beat the shit out of Chuck later on when they have their inevitable throwdown.
Yeah, missed opportunity, or maybe they had planned it and something didn't quite work. I did read that the film The Bar scene, the big fight in 4 days, and much of it was one take only sort of stuff.
Still, though, back then, 4 days for an American fight scene. Mm-hmm. And then, you can't tell because there's a lot of fucking carnage in it. It's a bit dark. It's a bit dark.
Yeah, definitely. Like they went the natural light route in a closed set, which I assume was kind of a real bar. I think,
it looks like a real bar.
I think from memory, actually, I did see some trivia that it is a real bar, but they just made a false window.
Yeah.
But there's zero light basically in that whole scene.
Gives it a moody look, though.
It does, and you know what? I really enjoyed it. To be fair.
Yeah.
There was some really hard hits. You had a feeling like it was just a real bar fight to some degree. I mean, spin kicks aside and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, remember what Eric Sloan said in Kickboxer? You can't win fights with that tip-tap shit. Chuck Norris proves you can. By just constantly being little kicks in the face and multiple kicks in the head and chest.
I do like all the gratuitous boobage that goes on.
There's quite a bit of titties in the movie, isn't there? Really? Yeah.
the run up to that scene when I think they're all gremlins basically in the bar of the bikers. They're all drinking and pouring beer all over each other and stuff. And I think one's literally drinking beer off the boobs of a woman laid down on the bar or something. And it's
pour a couple of pints in and he just lifts up a top and has a taste. Yeah. It's a bit gross.
Like I said, a bit gratuitous. Yeah, very sweaty and oily looking.
The one. Woman. I don't know if she's with the bikers or she works at the bar. The one with the tattoos on her boobs.
The quite clear transfers that are on her boobs.
Well, when she first, because when they first meet the bikers earlier on, it's sets up the fight. When she walked in, I literally thought her nipples were just sticking out.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I was like, what? She just got her nipples out.
Yeah, it's why are you wearing a top?
Yeah, I think the transfers, because when in that first scene when you see they look a bit shiny, the transfers. So I might be wrong. Maybe they are real tattoos, but I don't know. It just seems like a really strange visual thing to do.
Yeah.
Just have these really obvious things on her boobs. But fair play. Although it did get a laugh out of us when she propositions Charlie, the deputy. She says something you've probably never had something like this, and opens the top and says, "Do you want to have a feel?" And Charlie just goes,
just goes for it. Yeah. Chuck's "How man?"
It did get a laugh. And then when he's "Go get back up," and all he does is he goes outside and describes the boobs to the other person on the radio.
Yeah, and says he thinks he's in love and he's going to ask her on a date and stuff. Bless him.
I did laugh. It did get a laugh out of us.
What about Charlie's dark fucking childhood story about murdering a dog in a freezer?
Yeah, you just don't know where it goes, and then just the punchline about the dog having its mouth open. Yeah, I don't know. It felt more like a Cannonball Run sort of joke.
Well, honestly, that's what I was thinking through the movie. I was imagine the cast change. Instead of Norris and Stephen Keats, it was Reynolds and DeLuise. Exact same script, exact same movie. How much more enjoyable would it be?
It really would have worked. Dom DeLuise would have crushed that.
He would have, and he would have ad-libbed the shit out of it probably as well. I don't know if it's just, Chuck Norris's acting, but he kind of looks like he's hearing this for the first time. Yeah. He looks really awkward. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if it's intentional or although I think... I'm just having a quick look on IMDb. Yeah, that story I think was mostly ad-libbed actually. So I wonder if, like, that probably was the first time he heard that story, to be fair. And he's just gone, what the fuck?
Just a few of his reactions, it just kind of looks like B-roll.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, he's probably ad-libbed it, and the director, it just got a laugh out of the director or something.
Probably.
Maybe. They've just left it in, sort of thing. But you think they would get some more on-point reaction shots of Chuck Norris. But, like I said, I think a lot of this movie was like one shot and done sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Really.
Like a
bless
very
them.
quick, dirty production.
Yeah.
But what about the finale? When it comes down to Chuck and the killer.
Yeah, it's quite straightforward. I mean, firstly, I love all the stuff with him. Like he grabs onto the car and stuff.
That was cool. Yeah.
And like him climbing into the car was a really awesome visual.
Yeah.
Really loved that stuff.
And the car blowing up and him just coming out on fire and other dangerous
as
looking
fuck.
things.
Yeah, he like stands there for like 3 seconds, but it's like, oof, God, dangerous. But yeah, and then obviously just a really underplayed little fist fight.
That's. We'll get the highlights first because that's going to be me criticisms. One highlight we should talk about. If you're wondering the weird links we've had between movies, there's one here. Surprise, surprise! What was the one you discovered?
So the actor that plays John Kirby, he's one of the henchmen in Action Jackson.
Unbelievable.
He's the guy. I'm trying to remember what the guy. You know, it's a Delfino or something.
Delaplane.
The main villain, basically. He's got like a squad of like elite henchmen with him.
Oh, he's one of those guys. Oh, okay.
And he's one of those. So not the murderers though. He's like the elite like body guy.
Oh, okay.
That's always like with him.
Oh, okay.
But he's got a butterfly knife and he spins it a few times in the movie. And then he gets grabbed by the big bouncer guy.
Okay.
That's in it, and he cuts his throat or something.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And the other link is that we talked about a movie during the Action Jackson show called Dangerous Passion that stars Billy D. Williams and Carl Weathers, and it was released as Action Jackson 2 in some places. That was directed by Michael Miller, who directed this.
Crazy.
Weird.
Crazy.
What
links.
the fuck? I didn't spot any really Intent to Midnight, but that's a hell of a streak we just had.
The only sort of like multi-branching sort of weirdness that I was thinking about is John Kirby, actor. He's in Action Jackson with a butterfly knife, and then the killer Stacy in 10 to Midnight has a butterfly knife.
I was thinking of the butterfly knife. Yeah, I was thinking of that. I was like, is that too slight? But no, fuck it. It works for me. So yeah, what highlights then? What's some highlights for you that we haven't already mentioned?
For me, the actual like full highlight, my favourite bit was the car scene, him climbing into the car. That one shot of him like scrambling in at the back, and he's like in the background, and the way the light's done and stuff, he looks super creepy.
He does. Yeah.
And then him coming out the water as well.
Yeah.
And after he's jumped in the water when he's on fire, and his head pops up, and there's like a music sting, like
yeah.
and I was like, that was really nice. Like, I wish the movie was just more of this stuff. Basically.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I do love that scene where the doctor decides that we need to get rid of him, like it's too dangerous, so he injects him with like acid in his neck, and then he dies, and then he comes back and he's in like that weird, almost like futuristic looking corridor with a ramp, and he's backlit and you just see silhouette. I thought that was super creepy.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you just run though?
I know.
And you'd be like,
He's happy to see him. It's his little pet project.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I did like the whole. It almost feels kind of meta or like self-aware that they're like, because this was the era, obviously, of unstoppable monsters when Michael Myers and Jason just come on the scene, and it's like, here's the unstoppable monster, but there's a scientific reason. It's not just like he's just hot.
Yeah,
I quite like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like Wolverine powers to give him basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Like that is. I mean, you can blatantly tell it's like
rubber.
It looks like rubber, but it's a cool moment where they're like just slicing him open on the operating table and it's instantly healing.
Yeah, and I think it's like necessary but well done exposition that's kind of setting up that he has the ability to recover from gunshots and stuff. It doesn't feel out of place. It's not done like in a really silly way or anything. So yeah, I did kind of like that. It didn't spend too much time on the sciencey stuff either.
No, it just got across what it needed to get across for the plot, really. But as for the end fight, Jesus, it was like, right, I've come up with a name for this noise now with an actual phonetic spelling. Ancient. Ancient. Yeah, because it's like, if everyone would describe it now, ancient. It should be ancient. Because I would love to, if anyone knows, because, you know, there's an origin of, like, the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
I want to know the first movie that used... I'll put the sound effect in so you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
It's like somebody having a fucking sack of oats dropped on their face.
Dropped on their nuts or something.
It's
or
hard to describe.
on the stomach, getting the wind knocked out of them.
Such a weird noise, but it's like so like synonymous with childhood memories, basically, of watching, like, you know, Any Which Way But Loose or something. Or,
Cannibal, I think it's in Cannibal Run. It's in, like, all those. It's basically, from what I remember, from what I've seen, it's about, like, 77 to 83. That's where you find it the most.
Yeah.
And anyone gets hit, falls to the ground after getting punched or shot.
It's a good sound.
But yeah, the end fight was kind of underwhelming.
Bit flat, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to ask myself at one point, like 10 minutes from the ending, like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
What's the ending, like, because I feel like they don't know what they're going to do.
Well, like I was saying, that's why I was surprised Ron Silver's character died, because I figured, he seems to be the level-headed one of the doctors. Norris is going to get some information from him. He'll give him some clue as to how he can kill him, but no, he died.
Yeah, no, straight up got murdered. And then his missus got murdered as well. Collateral damage.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
But yeah, like, criticisms I touched on was very much like, it feels like a TV sort of constructed for TV, how there's an A plot and a B plot. Yeah. And the B plot's very unnecessary. Like, well, there's more like a B and a C plot, I suppose. Like, when you said it before, I was thinking, like, yeah, the Bakers is kind of like a weird B-C plot.
Yeah, but
it doesn't link in.
No, and that's literally just there so you get this, because obviously we're thinking, how the fuck's Chuck gonna have a fight before he fights? He can't have him fight the bad guy before the end, so it's just there to have him kick some heads in midway through the movie.
Get your money's worth out of Chuck Norris. Yeah. And some of the love stuff, it just felt a bit out of place. Like the sex scenes and stuff. I don't know. It was just a bit like
it's just
like the love montage.
It's
basically,
just something extra on the line at the end when he's like got to protect her and stuff like that. But yeah, they did kind of overdo it. It's probably like 10 minutes too long, I would say.
There's like presumably some sort of weird outtake that's left in the movie where they're on a hammock during the love montage.
It looks like he's just trolling her. Like, why the fuck is it going that fast?
Yeah, he's like swinging the hammock insanely fast, and she's trying to grab fruit. Yeah. Assumedly, she's trying to do her bit in the scene where she, like, the director's gone, grab some fruit out of the bowl, and she's trying to do it, and Chuck Norris is just having a laugh, swinging the hammock at 100 mile an hour.
Just being a fucking troll, basically.
So yeah, it's like really random. I did laugh the amount of times like Chuck Norris says about, because is it the setup's like they're going to go to the cabin or something?
Yeah.
I think he says like, we'll go for the weekend, go back home and get your clothes and then we'll meet. Yeah. But I just kept like joking when I was watching the movie with Stacey, saying like after every scene, like Norris is like, we're still going to the cabin though, right? Like right to the very end of the movie when they finally dispatched John Kirby and he's like, right, cabin, let's go. He's just like, I've got the car packed. I didn't pack it for nothing.
He's just like, oh, fuck off, I'm going home.
Just keeps on going. But yeah, I liked the chucking them down the well stuff.
Yeah, give him another wrestling move, give him a Death Valley driver down the well. I mean, honestly, at one point, I thought, shit, are they going to go just brutal here? When he was, like, moving the wood, and there was that little, like, section of brick, I thought, he's going to curb stomp. Like, that'll
Destroy
do it.
The brain.
That'll do it, yeah.
But obviously, massive sequel setup.
I don't know if it's
down the well.
I don't know if it's a sequel setup.
Do you not think?
It's probably just like a jump scare ending.
I think would you have preferred a jump scare, or would you prefer a slow him lifting his head out of the water sort of thing? Because I was in two minds.
Yeah, what I would have preferred would be a more. It just makes Chuck Norris look really dumb. Like, he knows he's been shot, set on fire, and he just comes straight back. Okay, you chuck him down a well. He's still in the way. You know he's alive.
Yeah. So do something about him.
Yeah, what I would have preferred more would be like, keep the fight in the well, but have a more final thing. Like, literally, it crushes his fucking skull. Something like that.
Yeah, or dynamite. Yeah. Or something. The fight leads him to a construction site, and or blast... a
mine or something.
Yeah, and he grabs, like, dynamite, and he, like, puts it... They do the, like, Monster Squad. He puts dynamite in his shirt pocket and kicks him. and then he explodes.
He puts it in his mouth and says "Silent Rage this" and kicks him.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, and then do the jump scare. That would be terrifying.
Yeah, like he still comes back at the end.
Yeah, because like I was expecting something because I was thinking there's no way that killed him.
No, just falling down the well. I mean, twice that happens in the movie. Really, like him getting chucked down the well and Chuck Norris. Well, no, 3 times. Chuck Norris not acknowledging that he's clearly not dead. The first time you like shoots him, I think, and then thrown him down the well. But also, even stupider, the doctor who gets murdered, the Ron Silver character, the fact that he shoots him in his home like 2-3 times, and then he's like expecting him to be dead, but he knows that he like has ability to like regenerate and stuff. So you think he would be like you would double tap basically, you would shoot him in the head or something. You'd be like, you're not dead yet.
You'd literally be dragging him outside and just pouring gasoline on him and setting him on fire.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it kind of does do that trope of like making the characters dumb simply so the film can continue.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, overall, I did enjoy the movie. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think is it like a Critics' Choice type movie?
No.
Of course not. No,
It's
but
fun,
it's
though.
like, but it's fun. A bit of Norris, bit of love, bit of humour going on in it. There's enough martial arts that doesn't get in the way of the movie.
No, not really.
And a little bit of horror. So yeah, and overall I enjoyed it as well.
And like what I would consider like a really underrated horror bad guy as far as like slashers and killers go. Like he was super effective, really like unnerving.
Yeah.
Such a great look.
The fact that he hasn't, apart from like the few utterances at the start of the movie, he's got 0 dialogue.
Yeah.
So everything he does is conveyed through his facials and he's like grunts here and then his body language. So it's a really awesome performance.
It is, yeah. But as for criticism,
well, like I said, I think my main thing is just some of the plot points don't tie together. There's just the love stuff. Definitely the love stuff for me. It just gets in the way of the movie.
yeah, and I get why it's there, but they could have maybe trimmed it back a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. The like paraphrasing here, I can't remember the exact quote, but Chuck Norris said that he looked at this movie basically and decided he didn't want to do any more movies with horror, and he didn't want to do any more movies with like sex or love scenes. And he just rubbed those 2 things out of his like tool set basically.
I mean, he was. It's funny. He's had a problem with that. He's fine with like mowing down people in Vietnam or repeatedly kicking people in the head, but he's like, no tits.
Yeah. Yeah, really interesting. They just decided that, and he's man of his word. He stuck to it as well. He never did that. Yeah. But yeah. What about your specific criticisms?
It's gonna sound brutal, but my main criticism is just Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris's face.
Yeah, I fucking hate these. No, just like it's a thing I've always thought about Chuck. Like whenever I've just seen even the films of his that I thought were okay, like he looks the part, but he's just kind of bland as an actor and like not much charisma. Like, as an example, I wrote down, he could be saying, your grandma has cancer, or I have a boner, and he would deliver it the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like just that Chuck Norris way of delivering lines.
I think I don't want to be brutal on him, because it's not about, like, I'm not saying he's a hack or anything, but he, like, looked into the business through his connection with Bruce Lee, and people loving, like, kung fu / karate.
It was the perfect time for it.
Yeah, so he kind of like he got into the business through like those channels basically, and stuck around. Like if he wasn't a martial artist, would he have ever been picked up as an actor? Like potentially not, maybe, I don't know.
It is kind of telling though, like when you think about it, the deputy probably has more lines overall than Chuck Norris.
Yeah, because I suppose it is quite early in his career still as a verbal actor. Yeah. Not just doing kicks and stuff. So he's probably just like really under not very experienced, we'll say that.
Yeah.
Trying not to be like totally brutal.
No, I don't want to be brutal because, like, you know, I know there's Chuck Norris fans out there who are probably like annoyed or like saying you just don't get it. Which I probably maybe I don't. Maybe I need to see more Norris movies. Obviously, this is it's not like one of his first. He'd done about 3 or 4, maybe 5 movies before this, but it's still early in these early days as a leading man. But yeah, I was just thinking, like, you know, if you take out the martial arts aspect, there's probably, like, for this time period, probably like a dozen better candidates that would make the movie better. Like, imagine, like, I don't know, fucking Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just being a really grizzled, like, cop.
You could still have the bar fight, there'd just be no kicking.
Yeah. Just smashing glasses over people's heads and stuff.
Yeah, and fucking stomping on heads and stuff, yeah. But yeah, like, regardless of what the director says, he says it was, like, written for Chuck in mind. I don't know. It might have been, but it just like I was saying, the fight scenes feel shoehorned in because Chuck Norris is in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know.
No, you never know, do you?
It just seemed weird for the time to be like, oh, we've got this like cop chasing a genetically fucking modified killer. Chuck Norris. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't really ring true, does it, for his like previous roles that he'd done and stuff?
Whereas for Blu-ray, 88 Films put it out, and it's not it's good transfer, but just a trailer. That's all you've got on there. But at least it's got a nice Blu-ray, cleaned up Blu-ray release.
Yeah, it looked really nice. The version I watched.
Yeah, it was lovely.
So, yeah.
Not.
Yeah, no, sadly. I mean, before we started recording, I showed you like those dreadful posters.
Oh yeah, just the generic video DVD. My favourite one is the picture of Chuck Norris from like 1994, which just says Chuck Norris, it's payback time. Silent Rage. I'm like, what?
It's like so fucking low effort.
Yeah.
I feel like Chuck Norris. Maybe that's the thing that put me off Chuck Norris.
The video box.
There's so many low effort video boxes out there.
Tell you a good one though, and it's a film I have always wanted to see because the video box is amazing. There, the Invasion USA cover. That's such a good. It's a good post. It's just him with two Uzis like standing over the fucking Capitol building.
Oh yeah, I think that rings bells actually. Yeah. But yeah, the people that were like licensing the movies and putting the movies onto home like video and stuff, they were just suckers for like really shit low effort boxes and just grab an image, a promo image of Chuck Norris, regardless of the setting of the scene, and then just slap it on the cover sort of stuff.
It's when they get to that like $4.99 sell-through market where like budget labels get hold of these movies and just bang anything to find. Like we were saying before, in the late 90s, early 2000s, when all the Jackie Chan Lo Wei movies got re-released at like the height of his popularity in Hollywood. And these movies are from like 1974 to like 1978, and all the covers just had promo images circa Rumble in the Bronx of Jackie on the cover just to try and convince everyone that just come out last week.
Yeah, I'm sure something like Half a Loaf of Kung Fu or something had something like that on there.
Yeah, they all did. They were all pretty much just various pictures of Jackie from the same photo shoot. Him in like the black tank top. But yeah, I would highly recommend Silent Rage if you've never bothered with it. Like I said, I was annoyed I hadn't seen it before because I was like, shit, this is right up my alley.
Yeah, and you know what? The film doesn't really outstay its welcome. I mean, it's a little bit longer than a lot of films of this era, like with 1 hour 40, but the pace and it didn't feel. I mean, I've watched it like twice there, and it didn't drag really at all. It didn't really. They said maybe the love scenes.
Yeah, what I was saying before, like it could probably do with like 5-10 minutes trimmed out of it. But I don't mean like there's just big sections where it drags. I just mean it could be tightened a bit, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. And yeah. I mean, there's definitely stuff there that could be changed about this movie to make it better. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, should we move on?
Champion Cinema.
So, with less of a gap than normal, we're going to 1983 for the next movie, 10 to Midnight.
Yep.
A title which means nothing in the grand scheme of things. But apparently I read, it's a fun fact about this movie, it's Bronson at age 61 had plastic surgery for the movie to make himself a little bit younger. Bless him.
Yep, bless him.
So as I said, came out in 1983 with a runtime of 1 hour 41 minutes. Directed by J. Lee Thompson and starring Charles Bronson as Leo Kessler, Lisa Ellenbacher as Laurie Kessler, Andrew Stevens as Paul McCann.
Doctor Who.
Yeah. I like these chips as well, Paul McCann. Gene. Cheap joke, I know, sorry. Dad joke.
I like these chips.
Gene Davis, not Gina Davis.
No.
As Warren Stacey, excellent role, we'll get to that. Jeffrey Lewis as Dave Dante.
Good old Jeffrey Lewis.
And Wilfred Brimley, I just want to end on, as Captain Malone.
Captain Malone.
So what's 10 to Midnight about?
Detective Leo Kessler and his new partner McCann find themselves knee-deep in a series of brutal murders at the hands of Warren Stacey. With no evidence and watertight alibis, Kessler plants evidence to ensure he will go down, but when this comes to light, Stacey wants revenge. I mean, that's kind of the whole plot of just the whole movie I've just summed up. But, you know, you have to get to that at some point. It's a big part of the plot.
It is, yeah. I feel like, just to start there, I feel like maybe that evidence planting thing should have come earlier in the movie. Like maybe it would have tied the movie together. I think for the first like 30-40 minutes it feels a bit aimless.
I did notice this time though, and like when I was just quickly going over the trivia before we started, like the opening scene where it's just him at his typewriter talking to a reporter.
Yeah.
Like that's a scene that's supposed to happen at like 20 minutes into the movie, but they just apparently moved it to before the credits to have like a cool little Bronson moment before it started or something.
Really?
But I'm like, because he's asking him about the killing that you see later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Weird.
It's bizarre. They should have fucking just had him go, I ate quiche at the start. That would have been a better start.
So, what is it with Bronson giving commentary on food he likes or dislikes?
Every time we've reviewed a Bronson movie, it's always to do with him and food.
So weird. I think that's got to be a thing. Next Bronson movie we'll do or watch, we're going to have to watch out for any food references.
Or we'll just do Mr. Majestic. He like farms melons in that movie.
Yeah, maybe at one point he's like, I like melons.
I like melons. So yeah, I was gonna say this is probably like a lot of people. This is my favorite era of Bronson, like early '80s, like the early canon movies, like from Death Wish 2 onwards, and then you got this Murphy's Law. It's just I don't know, something really cool and special about these movies. They're very grimy, but like very fun.
Yeah, and it's again, this has like a lot to bring to the table. I really, as I alluded to, talking through the cast, I really like Gene Davis's like portrayal of the killer. He's got such a fucking scary, creepy vibe.
He does,
to him.
yeah.
I don't know if it's like angular cheeks that he's got going on and stuff, but
Yeah.
he makes a good psychopath.
It's one of those things I always say, and I've probably mentioned on the show before, like, how do you say that to an actor when you're like, I mean, obviously they're going up for this role, which is like, horrible bastard, creepy, pervy and all this.
Yeah.
Like, how do you say to him, oh, you're perfect, look at your face.
It looks so creepy.
Oh, you're creeping us out, mate. Stop looking at it.
Yeah, I guess it's a compliment if they're going for that.
And then they're like, you're going to look even creepier when you're stark bollock naked. And he's like, what?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, you didn't send him the new script? Fuck.
We'll give you a cup. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because that's one thing I first wanted to get, like the commitment of Gene Davis in this movie.
Yeah, I read that he wanted to break the ice early with the actresses, so he could walk around set bollock naked.
Yeah.
So, I suppose because you couldn't be shy about it because he's running down streets and everything.
I did like the other trivia that the film was supposed to end with him and Bronson having like a scuffle, and Bronson was like, I'm wrestling with a naked man.
So, he's too Bronson.
Say, what do you want to do instead? Shoot him.
That's exactly how they came up with that.
It is. That's the exact conversation. I just shoot him in the head. Credits.
Because there's a lot of buck nakedness in this.
There's one point where like you almost just fully see his bumhole when he's like getting above the floor. I was like, whoa.
I don't think. Well, no, you see one frontal as well, don't you, towards the end of the movie?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But it's like in shadow and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, you give a lot to that movie.
Yeah, I always wonder, like every time I watch American Psycho, if this film was an influence on like the chainsaw scene.
Yeah, and it just, I was getting like kind of vibes. Obviously, although he does wear suits a few times in the movie, I'm not saying he's like going around being a schmuck in 80s sort of thing.
And it's always hard because like, apart from the naked thing being very specific, and it's only one scene in American Psycho, like each thing is both probably influenced by the same serial killers, so you know what I mean?
Obviously this is set in a time very much where, DNA wasn't a thing.
No.
It was still like early sort of forensic sort of stuff. So, if you wanted to get out of not having blood on your clothes and having to deal with getting rid of clothes and stuff, I guess you would strip naked to murder somebody. There's some logic there, really.
Like, I don't know if that's based on a specific killer, but if not, I'm sure it gives someone some idea that saw this movie.
Yeah, definitely. Although, as it proves later in the movie, being ass naked is not always practical when you're trying to kill people. Because he can't kick open the door at the end because he hasn't got shoes on. Yeah. I was like laughing at it. He just like kicks repeatedly and then he's like, he just gives up. Like, fuck. Wish I had boots.
But yeah, it's quite a sneaky plan at the opening scene where he's planning on killing someone who's like rejected him at work.
Yeah.
So he goes to the cinema, like acts like a dick to two women that are there, like tries to hit on them, and then leaves the cinema through the bathroom, goes and kills someone naked, comes back and sits back in his seat so he has an alibi. It's pretty clever. It's good. It's a well written scene there. Like, it's a good idea.
Yeah, you can see there's some thought gone into it and stuff. Yeah, definitely. Although, I will say, like, wouldn't the girls just have, like, turned around at one point and went, oh, yeah, he wasn't there for, like, an hour of the movie? But
Yeah, they were just well into Butch Cassidy in the Sundance Kid, like you should be.
But no, I did think, like, some of the stuff, very, like, I guess I liked some of the, like, cop sort of stuff and the sort of detective-y stuff going on in this movie. I liked all that sort of stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, if someone comes into this film expecting, I wonder if they're kind of not disappointed but surprised people at the time. Like, 'cause I think this was not long after Death, maybe the next year after Death Wish 2. I wonder if they were expecting that again.
Yeah,
because you don't get as much Bronson action as you would in a Death Wish sequel.
No, and you know what? Like, I was thinking about, you know, how we were talking like last week or whenever, when we were saying, oh, we've done a lot of action movies and stuff recently. And but, like, I probably wouldn't put this as an action movie at all.
I'd say it's a thriller. Yeah, it's just a thriller.
Like, obviously less so even than, like, Silent Rage. Like, maybe it's not a film we tend to do.
No,
this
not
type
really.
of film where it's more like, you know, like
police
a
procedural,
drama.
really.
Yeah, police procedural and stuff. But I did enjoy it. Like,
oh, it's good. Yeah, it's one of my favourites from like this period of Bronson.
Yeah.
Someone I always think, like, it's weird she wasn't a bigger star, that Lisa Eilbacher, who plays his daughter. Because, like, the next year, she would go on to be the lead, like, the female lead in Beverly Hills Cop, which was, like, the biggest movie of the year. And then you look at what she did after that, and, like, she did some stuff. She's in, like, Leviathan, I think, right?
Yeah, she was in Leviathan.
But wouldn't you think, though, starring in, like, the biggest movie of the year, that would be a launching pad? Like, it's just weird. Because she's good. She's good
Did
as
she,
well.
like, marry or something? Or just retire out of acting? Or?
No, because, like, you know, Leviathan was, like, 89.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But it is very strange. Like, yeah, I wonder if there's trivia about that. Like, did she miss off the wrong person?
Dunno,
or did she just not take to acting?
Is it just, like, you know, didn't get the role she went for, that went to, like, people that went on to something and then, or chose the wrong script? I don't know. I just find it weird because, like, she's really pretty. She's a good actress. Like I said, she's got that launching pad of Beverly Hills Cop. I just always find it weird because whenever I watch Beverly Hills Cop, I forgot she was in this, actually. And whenever I watch Beverly Hills Cop, I'm like, what happened to her?
yeah, really interesting. Yeah, and she's, I mean, there's some damsel-y moments in the movie, but I think she has some pretty good, like, scenes in this film where she's, like, you know, she's trying to, like, fight back and lock the door and stuff and like, hide away, and I don't know, she has some quite good stuff to do in this movie.
I like the one you first meet her at the funeral for the first girl. And McCann talks to her, and you're just getting vibes of Bronson from her. Like, they set it up right. It's just quite sarcastic and dry. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're definitely your dad's daughter," type of thing.
I thought the chemistry between those two actors was really good as well. They're like kind of like they were vibing off each other, but like criticising each other, being like twatty with each other and stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of worked well. I like that.
Yeah, it wasn't your cookie cutter like, oh, he's going to get with her, and then he's going to have to save it. And they were quite like confrontational every time they met. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of the score and the just general music of this movie?
I liked the you know, some of the like rock moments, like at the end when that music kicks back in as they're like running down the road. It's awesome.
It's like great music, but like mental as well at the same time.
It is kind of mental, yeah.
I think it wrote me notes like my senses are assaulted by the 80s-ness of the music.
It's very 80s, yeah. For a movie that's not like, you know, 85 80s where it's very 80s. It's like, it's obviously 83, but yeah, just that music kicks in, you're like, oh yeah, fuck, this is the 80s.
Like somebody just got a synth for Christmas, basically, and we're like, fucking, I'm going nuts on this thing. Although there's one bit where I think it's the first time, maybe it's where he's naked and he's chasing the girl, where there's like somebody's just going mad on like a bass guitar. It's just like one string though, like bang 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 bang. It's like, oh my god, crazy audio. I think watching this after watching Silent Rage.
Oh yeah, which like we said is very like kind of quiet.
Yeah, it's just like getting hit in the face with crazy music the entire time.
The score does have like, once again, like it's the early 80s and it's the tone is about killing serial killers. It does have like a scuzzy little synth score now and then, which is nice.
I definitely like the music. I just think there's times where it's like they could have maybe picked something a bit more.
Yeah, for me it was just like, for me it was always just like the song choices are just like, Jesus, they just come out of nowhere.
I made a note, penis knife.
penis knife.
It's just a line
Oh, yeah.
in the movie where I think Bronson, but I made a joke about it because Bronson's character's like, he says something like, "Oh, his penis. He uses his knife instead of his penis."
Mhm.
And I just cracked the joke that like the doctor's like, "Oh, that's interesting. You mean like, you know, he gets like some sort of sexual pleasure from using a knife?" And he's like, "No, I think he's got a knife for a penis." He's just like a total maniac. Like, no, I don't think he does. And the other note that I just cracked myself up about was, so there's a scene where him and I'm trying to think what's the Andrew Stevens, Paul McCann's character. They're in a car together, driving along, and they're like having a bit of a dialogue scene, and there's just like an aeroplane flying over the top, like, and I was just laughing, thinking like, they must have filmed that, and then they just went to like Bronson, like, "Sorry, Mr. Bronson, we're gonna have to do that. There was a bloody airplane flying over the top, and it spoiled the audio." And Bronson's just gone, "No way," and that was it. And they just went, "Oh."
No.
Because like, why wouldn't you redo that? Wouldn't you look at the dailies and go, "Oh fuck"?
It's LA ambience, man. You hear planes all the time, I'm sure.
It's just really high in the mix, though. It's like at one point it's like louder than the dialogue. It's like, what the fuck? Wouldn't you just loop it? Wouldn't you get them to just redo the audio at least? That's strange.
Yeah, he's like, "No, it's lunchtime. What's for lunch?" And they're like, "Quiche." And he's like, "Damn it."
I hate quiche.
I hate
And they're like,
quiche.
put that in the film.
I like that scene when they're in like the hospital cafeteria and they go to have lunch with his daughter. And he fucking hates quiche and coleslaw, so he puts that away. He just comes back with like a fucking turkey leg.
It's like a medieval
What
banquet.
kind of fucking canteen just sells fried turkey legs?
A very well prepared and stocked
Apparently.
one.
Jesus, yeah, he just comes back with like a fried turkey leg, some pie, and some fucking mashed potatoes. Like, that's a dinner.
Getting back to like stuff I like about the movie, though, I like the moral dilemma stuff. You know, like him planting the evidence and things.
Yeah, one
Like
of my favorite scenes in the movie is like their argument on the like outside the courtroom, like just before he goes in. It's like a good kind of like, you know, about right, wrong, is it justice?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a well written little scene.
Because, like, you know, obviously it was wrong to plant evidence and stuff, but, you know, this guy's clearly fucking psycho and like, dangerous and stuff.
And like 5 steps ahead of the police.
Yeah, so he's doing what he must to keep his daughter safe.
Yeah.
And you know, and ultimately, if they had just stuck with that, like, what, 3-4 women wouldn't have lost their lives either.
Yeah,
So there's kind of like a meaning there somewhere. But it's just interesting though. It's like a good moral sort of dilemma about planting evidence and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't see it coming when he just went and obviously he admitted to it as well. I didn't really know what they were going to do, but then when he just comes into the courtroom and motions for like the lawyer to come see him or something,
Yeah.
and he just like tells the judge like, "Oh, I planted the evidence." I
Yeah,
was like,
just to save his partner from having to like grass him up,
Perjure himself
basically.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
grass him or
Either
perjure
grass him up
himself.
or perjury. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought that's something like maybe that stuff could have come a bit earlier in the movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
So there was more like of a, I don't know, this mad dichotomy of like different things going on, and you could have had more of a slow build to like, because I liked all the Kessler stuff where he was like harassing
Yeah.
the killer basically, and like following him and making his life a hell. If there could have been more of that, it maybe would have justified more that this guy like snapped and went wacky at the end and just started murdering girls and running down the street naked and stuff.
Yeah, one of my highlights, it just fucking cracked us up because I forgot all about it when just after that scene in the court when Bronson's watching TV of like the killer outside the court and stuff. And it just cuts to like an interviewer trying to ask Kessler a question. He just goes, "Why don't you go fuck yourself?" Yeah, it was just really caught us off guard. I just cracked up.
Really blood.
A little tidbit though, I thought was weird considering like the DVD that I've got. Did you see the thing about, you know, the second girl who gets killed, like the roommate of the first victim?
The girl that's frying eggs. I don't know why that stuck in my head.
having bit of eggs on toast there. Gina Keogh, she's called.
Right.
She was apparently told by Bronson that like she was up for the role of the daughter and would have got it, but she was too tall. And it was because she was a Playboy model and she'd lied on her Playboy profile. It said she was 5'9". That's the only reason she's not playing the daughter. And she said she was really upset about it. But weirdly, looking at my DVD cover, I was like, why is the fucking cover just hair and Bronson? It's like someone saw the trivia and was like, I'm like, justice for Gina.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what, though, there was a lot of, good-looking women in this movie.
Oh, yeah,
and
you
stuff,
got a
and,
young Kelly Preston in it as well from Twins. You know, the future Miss Travolta and stuff.
Yeah. That's great casting.
Someone I never noticed before until looking up information this time, the chick from the Thriller video.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Yeah, mad casting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, also, I forgot, I wrote a note down because I thought it was quite interesting. It's weird where people's careers go, that Gina Keogh went on to become a regular on the long-running reality show Real Housewives of Orange County.
There you go.
From Bronson to reality TV. Any other highlights? I'm kind of just going through my highlights.
Well, we'll talk about the ending separately. I
Okay,
think.
yeah, 'cause-
Although, no, should we just do the ending?
Okay, we'll do the ending
I
now. So
guess.
spoilers if you've never seen this before and you don't want it spoiled. I mean, you can tell where it's going. It's a Bronson movie. But, I like the ending.
What, like the very, very ending or the massacre bit?
I mean,
are you counting all of it as
the whole finale is just super grim. Like Gene Davis does such a good job just being absolutely unhinged in that scene.
Yeah, and really stone cold. The only thing that grates on us a bit is, but it's a product of the time, is just the girls being like wilting flowers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. And just being like, meh,
Yeah.
like deers in headlights. Where it's like, come on, he's got a fucking knife. At least try and fight.
Literally reach
Jesus
up
Christ.
and grab his bollocks.
Yeah,
They're right there.
But like I said, probably product of the time.
It is, yeah.
Like damsel in distresses and
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, this is more of American Psycho stuff coming in, I guess, isn't it? Where he's just he just goes on a murderous rampage. Throughout the movie, he's super careful, hiding things,
Yeah,
sneaking into
He's
things.
calculating and he plans a lot. But this time he's just I'm just going to go in and then massacre. He's looking for Bronson's daughter.
Yeah.
But she's in another room and they're all trying to protect her by saying we don't know where she is, so he just kills about 3 of them.
Yeah, just goes nuts.
It's very brutal. I mean, it's not it's brutal as in graphic. It's just the tone of it's quite harsh. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's the inevitability of it.
Oh, yeah.
Whether they're there in the room and he's just there and he's coming for them slowly, sort of stuff.
I also like as well how they do the fake out jump scare of him leaving, but they do it the right way. They show him actually leaving, and then he just snuck back in for the jump scare, which I thought was nice.
Yeah. But yeah, then they're slightly nonsensical, but I like it just because it's cool. Though. He runs down the street for 10 minutes, and then Bronson's ahead of him.
Yeah.
But it's for a cool visual.
It is. Yeah, when he just pops up with a gun. It's a nice shot.
Yeah, because I do like the shot of her. It's her back running, and there's a few quick shots of him catching up, and then you see a POV of him almost reaching for her, but then boom, there's Bronson.
Yeah, Bronson to the rescue.
Yeah, so that's quite good, that payoff.
I just love the very cold, badass Death Wish Bronson that comes back where basically the killer is taking the advice of Jeffrey Lewis, his lawyer, by saying eventually if it gets to that, we'll just say you're insane. And you'll get put in a loony bin. You won't get the death penalty. So he starts. The cops are pulling up. He starts doing that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm insane. I don't know why I killed these women.
He's I'm gonna get out. I'll get out. I'm gonna be out in no time, sort of thing.
I think he says you'll see me again. And no, we won't. And blang right in the fucking head, in front of 5 cops. But I think it's funny because you get the impression that because of the whole perjury thing, he's no, he's right. We need to do it by the book.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the film, he just oh, fuck it.
I wonder what happens next.
Yeah.
In that movie, in that world.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Did you notice that? I've never noticed this before. It literally ends then. So, he shoots him, he hits the ground.
Credits.
But then when it cuts to the wide shot, McCann's standing in front of Bronson and he's got, his hands out to be arrested. It seems like they've cut a bit out where he comes up to, arrest him or something.
I mean, assumedly,
you'd have to the witnesses and stuff. There's 10 cops there, and he's like, "Oh, how we're gonna cover this up?"
He goes to jail. It's kind of a bummer ending.
Fucking Castle's just wait a minute. Put my gun in his hand. He killed himself. Say, oh, come on. Stop.
There's 10 police officers here, fuck's sake. There's somebody in the window over there looking down. He wasn't getting away with that.
No, definitely.
I want to see an edit, though, of this movie. Because for me, the little red blob on his head wasn't enough.
No.
I want to see like a cut to like scanners.
That's what I was going to say. The only problem I have with it is I would like a more messy squib. I would like the brains to come out the back of his head.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking,
Yeah,
like,
just go
I
mental.
want to combine it with the end of Death Wish 3 with the rocket launcher. He just pulls a rocket launcher out like the end of Dead or Alive and just blows it away.
You should do the. Isn't there a shot in like The Beyond or something?
Oh, yeah, that girl's head, the whole front of her fucking face comes off. Yeah,
That's what they needed to do.
that's what they needed. Yeah.
Something like that, basically. Where you go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then the film just ends.
Yeah, because it's kind of...
Oh, he shoots him in the dick.
Yes! He should have shot him in the dick, and then as he hit his knees, in the top of the head. There you go. And then the bullet goes through him and comes out his bumhole. And then all the cops start throwing up.
Yeah. Like, if it had been made a few years later, they could have, like, done it in 3D.
Yeah, yeah.
His exploding asshole just comes at the camera. Cash in on that whole thing.
Yeah, they could have had loads of, like, dick shots and stuff that come out the screen. But any
Got a bit off track.
oh well, that's my favourite part of the show. Any major criticisms? I mean, mine are just like I said. I think it's a little slow in spots, maybe. Like you said, because of the pace. Like I agree with you. That whole bit should have come a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Just I felt like the movie picked up more momentum when he was like harassing the bad guy and stuff,
yeah.
and it pulled the movie together.
Yeah.
So if that had happened earlier, it would have made more sense. And I said that the women, the screamy damsel in distress is just a bit grim. I guess just Bronson dialing it in a little bit, phoning it in a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, well, you know what? I always think, like, it's reminded us watching this again. Like, I think there's literally two eras of Bronson. Like, if you look at Bronson in, like, I don't know, well, like Magnificent Seven, Mr. Majestic, like the first Death Wish, it's like a different kind of Bronson. Like, I'm not saying he's dialing it in or like just sleepwalking his way through it, but he's just like, it just feels like he's like, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of acting where like he's just like,
Yeah.
it's just another role.
Yeah, he doesn't give much to the role at all, does he really?
But he does have some good moments in this. So like I said, the argument outside the courthouse is good stuff. And you know, I love the way Bronson delivers like a final line before he kills someone like that. No, we won't. It's just delivered really well.
yeah. It's the way he talks. It's only something Bronson could do.
Yeah.
It's something about his accent, his delivery. Yeah, he's a very, very unique guy for that sort of stuff. Like, but yeah, I mean, what's that fucking guy, that Roger Ebert guy?
Oh, Roger Ebert, yeah.
Yeah, Ebert. Like, he famously gave the movie 0 stars.
Yeah, he's given some fine movies awful, like scathing reviews over the years. I've never been a fan of fucking Siskel and Ebert.
He described the movie as being a scummy little sewer of a movie.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on. Like, I mean, I guess we've got the benefit of time and hindsight, and you know, movies do change over the years and stuff. And maybe it would have been different if we'd seen it at the time.
I've seen various times though when like Siskel and Ebert like to put themselves on this pedestal because you know they were the biggest movie reviewers in America, so everyone watched them, and they would always put themselves like they're the ones that fucking railed against the Friday the 13th movies as if they were like snuff movies. It's like if you watch the rant on like the Friday the 13th, you're like, what are you watching? Like, Jesus Christ, you think they were like just eight entries of Cannibal Holocaust the way they were talking? It's insane.
It is ridiculous, isn't it? And like, I think even scanning over IMDb and stuff, there's still like comments of people going like, you know, overly violent and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, overly violent? Is it? Like, or is it just doing what it's supposed to do? It's supposed to be a psycho.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be a fucking awful serial killer.
Yeah, and also it doesn't really show a lot.
No, like I said, I was saying before, like the big massacre at the end, it's more like harsh in tone than it is violence.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not probably not fair. I think it's an interesting and entertaining movie ultimately, and I think it has some very strong performances from like my highlight actor wise is probably Gene Davis.
Yeah, he's good.
And Lisa Elbacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like really good performances.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfair criticism to some degree.
Only other criticism I have is, you know, I'm sure you agree, could have used more Wilford Brimley, but...
Yeah, well, yeah, we've not mentioned Wilford Brimley. Yeah, of course. He's just a name for the poster, isn't he, basically?
Yeah, he's in like a handful. He's mainly in the first half of the movie. He kind of disappears, doesn't he, after the first like 45 minutes?
Does he sit down the entire time from memory?
He stands up,
There's a lot of sitting down.
I think I see him stand up once.
He just turns up, but for what he does, he's Wilford.
He's
Brimley.
always welcome in every movie he's in.
Yeah.
I mean, even movies he's not in, I'm like, that could have used more Wilford Brimley. To just come in and be some like wise old man giving you advice. That's it. That should just be in every movie. As for Blu-ray, Shout Factory in the USA and 88 Films in the UK both released it on Blu-ray. They both kind of have the same extras, except the American one has an extra commentary with like the producer and a few members of the crew, and the 88 Films one has an extra featurette about sleazy cop movies of the early 80s, which sounds amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. And they've both got a commentary by author Paul Talbot, who did an awesome book called Bronson's Loose about the making of the Death Wish movies, which is a very good book. I'd highly recommend.
Yeah, cool.
So, yeah, I still never got. I've just still got the old bare bones like MGM DVD. I've keep me upgrade to the 88 Films Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think it would be a nice film to own, like on a nice Blu-ray and stuff. Definitely.
Yeah, I hope 88 Films get around to more Bronson, because they only did this and Murphy's Law, like the other canon movie, like a couple of years after this.
Art-wise,
yeah.
I suppose the only thing, as we just talked about before, was the Enzo Sciatti poster.
Yeah, the Italian poster. Like, if you look up just Enzo Sciatti Bronson, he did a lot of the canon ones in the 80s. There's a lot of really nice art by him and Bronson.
He captures like the colours and stuff of the movie really well, and like the street lighting and stuff. You know, that was cool white street lighting that we've talked about before. But aside from that, there isn't like a ton of stuff out there.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is another show where there aren't really any video games or action figures.
We're gonna have to do like fucking Star Wars next week or something. So we've got something for this section.
Champion Cinema.
We haven't even decided what we're doing next week, so we'll let you know on the old Instagram, which you can follow at Champion Cinema Pod, and go give us 80-star reviews on iTunes, etc., etc. and all that jazz.
Yes.
Until next week, folks, I will see you down the pit.
See you in the heat.
Bye.
Champion Cinema.